right. If anyone is here to speak for or against an item, would you please stand to be sworn in?
All right. Do you affirm that all the testimony and evidence you're about to give in a case before this commission this day will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and will conform to the facts of the case and the rules of this commission? This you affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury. Please say I do.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, approval of the February 8th, 2024 CPC minutes. Any?
I didn't see any issues. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right. I don't believe there are any tabled items, so we will move right into the new item agenda. So with that, application for alley vacation AV 032024, filed by Stephanie Parsons on behalf of the YMCA to vacate the north-south alley between lots 568 and 569 of the S&P Carlin's addition and the east-west alley between lots 565 and 568 and 587 and 590 of the S&P Carlin's addition. CPC staff comments.
Okay, so this request is on the south side of East Hardin Street, going south and then to the west over to Grand Avenue. It is a 16-foot wide right-of-way that measures 216 feet south from East Hardin Street and 216 feet from the west to Grand Avenue. It is not located within a 100-year floodplain. The YMCA has indicated that they would like to vacate this alley. They are the only abutting property owners along both these alleyways, and every other alleyway in this block has already been vacated previously in 2014. So staff had no concerns with the request. So CPC staff recommends approval of application for alley vacation AV-03-2024, filed by Stephanie Parsons on behalf of the YMCA to vacate the north-south alley between lots 568 and 569 of the S&P Carlin's addition, and the east-west alley between lots 565 through 568 and 587 through 590 of the S&P Carlin's addition.
Engineering?
No comment.
Fire prevention had no comment. Dan Stone?
No comment.
Are you allowed to do that? No. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, basically, this is just part of the request from the YMCA as part of their overall master campus development. As of right now, I know typically when alleys are vacated, the city reserves an easement over that for utilities. There are no public utilities within either one of those alleys, so we would request that that not be placed on this particular alley vacation. There are private utilities in there, but we are working with those particular utility companies to get everything relocated out and around the development. So again, this is one of the steps for their master plan.
Okay. Any comments from the commission? Anyone in the audience that's here to speak for or against this? Okay. So the recommendation is staff recommends CPC approval, application for alley vacation AB 03-2024, filed by Stephanie Parsons on behalf of the YMCA to vacate the north-south alley between lots 568 and 569 of the S&P Carlin addition, and the east-west alleys between lots 565 through 568 and 587 through 590 of the S&P Carlin addition. That is a mouthful. Okay. Do you have a motion?
I will so move.
Second?
Second that.
Okay. Jacob, when you're ready.
All right, Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Mr. Trombley.
Aye.
Ms. Schroeder.
Aye.
Mr. Klinger.
Due to my involvement, I'm going to, in this project, I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. All right. Agenda item number 2, application for zoning amendment ZA 01-2024, filed by the Women's Resource Center of Hancock County to rezone 116 Laquinio Street from R3 small lot residential to O1 office and institution. CPC staff comments.
Just
That's
real
not
quick,
it.
Rob. So we've been discussing with the applicant. So the lot was given a conditional use for the office space on that site a couple years ago, and basically they applied because they wanted to sign. So we believe that because of the conditional use, they can get a sign permit without having to go through a rezoning. So their request is to table today's item so that they can get their sign permit sorted out. And then if they can get that sorted out, then they would just withdraw their application next month. So
Okay.
that's the short version.
Do we need to do anything to make this tabled, or just table and move
Yeah,
on?
you would need to make a motion.
Oh, well, I'll make a motion to table this.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Trombley,
Aye.
Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye. All right. Moving along to what's on the screen. Agenda item number 3, application for zoning amendment ZA02-2024, filed by Sheets Distribution Services for an initial zoning request of I-1 Light Industrial for their property to be located at the northwest corner of the intersection of County Road 212 and Township Road 230. CPC staff comments.
Okay, so obviously the request is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of County Road 212 and Township Road 230 in Allen Township. Site's currently vacant. Inside the city limit, on the south side of County Road 212, it is zoned I-1 Light Industrial and O1 Office Institution to the southeast. The city of Findlay land use plan designates the property as industrial. The parcel history, obviously, the site's vacant. It was previously heard as a final plat in August 2022 and had a site plan review in February of 2024. During the site plan review process, the staff understood that the applicant was working through the annexation process. Knowing that, staff reviewed the proposed site plan against the Findlay I-1 Light Industrial District standards. Given that the proposed use of the site and the applicant's request, staff did not have any concerns recommending I-1 Light Industrial for zoning upon annexation into the city of Findlay. So our staff recommendation was CPC staff recommends approval of application for zoning amendment ZA-02 2024 filed by Sheets Distribution Services for an initial zoning request of I-1 Light Industrial for the property to be located at the northwest corner of the intersection of County Road 212 and Township Road 230.
Engineering,
No comment.
fire prevention had no comment. Anyone here to speak for or against this? I know that the annexation process is moving along. Anticipated, there's been no objection or no issues with that process. And at this point, we're anticipating June-ish with the cadence of the process to be completed. So just so you're aware, that annexation process is sitting at the city's level and it's marching along. So any comments from the commission?
Just one question. Will, once it's annexed, then will that automatically go to I-1 or will it come back before us?
This decision will apply I-1 when it's annexed.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Anything else?
Nope, I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Trombley.
Aye.
All right, moving on. Application for conditional use of CU 01-2024 filed by Protec Rental Properties to establish a triplex at 321 West Front Street. CPC staff comments.
Okay, so the request is located on the south side of West Front Street between Liberty Street and Southwest Street. The south side of West Front Street in this block is zoned C3 downtown commercial. On the north side of the street, it is zoned R3 small lot residential. This location is is located within the 100-year floodplain, and the City of Findlay Land Use Plan designates the area as downtown. So parcel history, the parcel has operated as a single-family home, which Protect Rental Properties acquired in December of 2023. So the applicant has requested to convert the property into a triplex. This area of downtown does have an abundance of residential and multifamily properties, so staff did not have concerns about the fit with the surrounding area. In the rear of the site, there is a large established parking area that measures roughly 38 feet wide by 90 feet long. This would easily accommodate enough parking for 6 tenants. So staff recommendation, CPC staff recommends approval of application for conditional use CU-01-2024 filed by Protect Rental Properties to establish a triplex at 321 West Front Street.
Engineering,
No comment.
fire prevention had no comment. Hi.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm here on behalf of Protect Rental Properties.
I don't think it's on.
They just wanted me to say that.
Ma'am,
they're-
is your mic on?
The little
The red
light?
button on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Lauren on behalf of Protect Rental Properties. They're requesting to convert 321 West Front Street into a triplex. They believe that the square footage of the house and the existing paved parking accommodates their request for this.
So I think that answered my question. The words convert the property into a triplex, I wasn't sure if you were demoing and rebuilding or if it was renovating existing.
Just renovating the existing.
Okay.
So no additions, no added square footage to the overall.
No.
What is the total square foot? How big is each?
I do not personally have that. I'm just here. Joe was out of town and the office lady was out of the office today. I'm just stepping in.
Okay. You don't know the square footage of the house itself?
I do not. He said it's pretty cut up. It does have big square footage. It would be easy to break it down into a triplex.
Eric, being in the flood zone, what's their limitations on investment?
What do you mean investment?
Well, you in a flood zone, you can only
Yeah, improvement.
2/3
Yeah,
of the
so there'll be
value.
if it's a standard improvement. I mean, a substantial improvement. The whole property has to be flood proofed. So that's 50% of the actual cash value of the house to construction of the improvements.
Okay.
If you or the owner have any questions about that moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team.
Okay.
So we can help facilitate that for you if there is that window that you're unsure of, okay?
Okay.
Does anyone else here to speak for or against this topic? Okay, any questions from the commission?
Maybe a condition for the approval could be that they submit a floor plan to show that they're meeting the minimum floor space for each unit.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
like that idea.
That's kind of where I was going. It's hard to get approval or give approval when we don't know what's happening inside the house. So I want to make sure we're not putting in living spaces that are too small and too cramped for people.
Okay.
And
What
those-
is that minimum square footage, Eric?
I think it's like 800
800. I thought it was
Per unit.
800 per single floor. That's for the R3.
no
Never
per
mind.
unit
Per unit.
living area. I think I'm right.
Future conditional uses, we'll make a note to have them supply a floor plan to ensure that they're meeting the square footage required. But that'll be a condition for this one also.
All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion for approval on the condition that a floor plan be submitted.
Okay.
I'll second that. Whenever you're ready, Jacob.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Trombley,
Aye.
Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
and that's everyone.
Okay, moving right along. Agenda item number 5, application for final plat FP 03-2024, filed by Rusk OP to replat lots 25 through 27 of the Deer Meadows subdivision. CPC staff comments.
Okay, so the request is located on the southwest corner of the southeast corner of the intersection with Romick Parkway and Keith Parkway. The City of Findlay land use plan designates the property as industrial. So the site is currently parking lot, and which Planning Commission approved back in November of 2019. Resco P also received CPC approval for a building expansion for Ever Drive Findlay in May of 2020. So staff analysis. One of the conditions for approval of the site plan in 2020 was to redraw the lot lines to get the parking lot onto the same parcel as the Resco P site, which is Ever Drive Findlay. This final plat allows for that to be accomplished. The remainder of the lots on the north side would be combined into one lot to allow for future development. Staff did not have any concerns with the request. Just a note in the packet. So they submitted a survey. I think there was a little confusion with the surveyor that they only needed to go through a minor subdivision process for this. But since it's a platted subdivision, they needed to submit a final plat. So that's why in the packet it's only a survey at the moment. I've communicated with the surveyor of what is required on a final plat, and they're working on getting the final version of that submitted to me, but I did not receive that yet. But essentially it will look like they've submitted with the survey. So anyways, so staff recommendation, so CPC staff recommends approval of application for final plat FP-03-2024 filed by Resco P to replat lots 25 through 27 of the Deer Meadows subdivision.
Engineering.
No comment.
With the condition that they submit their final plat properly.
Thank you. No, I thought that was included at the beginning, but I'm glad you clarified that. All right. Engineering, no comment. Fire prevention, no comment. Good morning, sir. Introduce yourself, please, and you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on?
So my name is Jackson. I'm with Rusk Industries. So basically, like he said, we added that parking lot in and requested to have that added to the main plot there where the building is at. And then they're going to add the other two together, I believe, with intentions to sell that for further development of the neighborhood there.
Anyone on the commission? Anyone else here to speak for or against this?
I'd make a motion to approve
I'll
with
se-
the condition of submitting the final plat.
Yep, and I'll second that. Thank you.
I'll
Jacob,
read
whenever
the
you're
rule.
ready.
So Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Trombley,
Aye.
Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
Mr. Klinger.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item number 6, application for final plat FP 04-2024, filed by Mardic Investment Incorporated for a final plat for a commercial subdivision and creation of a public roadway. This would create a 9.713 acre lot with a roadway connection from County Road 99 south to Midwest Court. CPC staff comment.
So the request is located on the south side of County Road 99, east of Technology Drive. This area is a mix of C2 general commercial and M2 multifamily high density. It is not located within a 100-year floodplain, and the City of Findlay land use plan designates the parcel as regional commercial. Parcel history, the site is currently vacant, and a preliminary plat for this proposal went through Planning Commission on September 14th, 2023. It was item PP-02-2023. So staff analysis. At the September 2023 meeting, the applicant indicated that this 9.713 acre parcel was they had intent to sell for development as either a hotel or retail development. The road dedication is shown only to the southern edge of the proposed parcel. From the southern edge of that parcel to the future extension of Midwest Court, it only shows a roadway and utility easement. Staff has concerns that the entire roadway needs to be dedicated from the proposed Mardic Drive to Midwest Court to allow for future development. CPC staff recommends approval of the application for final plat FP-04-2024 filed by Marduk Investments Inc. for a final plat for a commercial subdivision and creation of public roadway. This would create a 9.713 acre lot with a roadway connection from County Road 99 south to Midwest Court, with the condition that they dedicate the entire roadway from Marduk Drive to Midwest Court.
Engineering.
To echo what Jacob was saying, I agree. One of the concerns I have is if it's only built to here, which property then is responsible to build the rest of the roadway? I wouldn't want to see a dead end roadway here and a dead end roadway here. It's kind of leaving a situation where I don't eventually where the city then would have to be responsible for it. So it kind of leaves up in there. Is it the property to the south? Is it the property to the east? Is it this property? Which one's building the next section of the roadway? Whose responsibility does that fall on? And I don't really want that piecemeal together in the long run.
Fire prevention had no comment. And I've talked to Jeremy, the city engineer, on this a few different times, and the fragmented roadways are definitely a concern of ours. So just wanted to put that out to connect those roadways would be optimal for this as well as future development. Anyone else have any comments?
I do have a question on the remaining lot that's going to be left here. This looks like it's small, and then it's got a little. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, you've got the small little flag route going to 99, and then the developable area here feels really small. What's the intent with that parcel?
Matt, can you go back to the one? This line that you see right here, Kerry, that's just a parcel line. The developer owns basically all of this land here.
Okay.
So if this were to ever get developed, that little strip right there would not necessarily be part
With
of
that parcel.
that lot right
Okay.
there. We do know that this lot right here is shorter in depth. Right now, it is intended to be more of a regional retention area for the roadway. If this property were ever to get developed, you could do a smaller retail or outlot. Again, part of the discussion that we had that you weren't part of with the preliminary plat is not knowing exactly what is going on. We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in and put, a big pond, regional pond somewhere. Depends on working over here. So right now, we're putting a temporary basin in there for the roadway.
Okay.
This lot here, if they do anything, will have to have their own stormwater management on site, whether it be a pond, underground detention, or anything.
Right.
So, that was the intent of this, is the roadway will drain into here. This whole drainage system that goes through the apartments down in the pond does account for all of this when that subdivision was done. It's a reduced rate, so that's why they still have to have a little bit of detention for the improvements. So that's kind of the, I guess, a long story to show you that, yes, this can be developed. You could easily put a small little place here with some parking. The pond, or the detention basin, which is just a dry hole, will, has the ability to be relocated in the future.
Okay.
Once they have more development and,
Interest from people building
interest,
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
With regard to the roadway, the developer understands you guys' concerns. Right now, a couple years ago, we came in with the site plan for apartments down here. They have since reached out to both the developer and myself. We are working on new concepts down this way. So what we would like to do is work with the city and maybe possibly get a condition to do that roadway once we know exactly what is going on with the apartment development going to the south. One thing when I talked to both Jeremy and Matt about this particular area is, this is a boulevard section here. This roadway is just going to be a standard roadway. What we're trying to do is we're trying to position the curb cuts where they need to be, the openings in a boulevard. We don't want to go ahead and put a T intersection or a standard four-way intersection here, not knowing what's going on down here, or this property right here, is being looked at by Blanchard Valley. So what we would like to do is add the condition, the public roadway will be extended here. We will have a cul-de-sac at the end right now that will allow safety personnel to easily turn around there. And then, put some type of stipulation on the finishing this roadway within a certain amount of time if the Castro development does not happen within that particular time. So if that's something that, the administration and you guys would be willing to work with, I think the developer would be more than happy to kind of work with you guys on that as well.
What's a reasonable amount of time in your mind?
You mean to finish the road?
Yeah.
I would say probably 12 to 18 months, if that's reasonable.
Dan, in your experience, or either of your experience, is there a mechanism? Is that a bond situation or just a letter of intent or promise? What?
I guess what we would like to do, work with you guys on more of a letter of intent, or, hey, we will do this type of thing, put the stipulations on that. We would prefer not to bond it. Obviously, we don't know exactly what is going in, what's going on there. And plus all that does, no offense, is it just holds money up that, they're gonna, they're admitting they're gonna go ahead and do it. So, that's what we would like to do, is just get an agreement, work with you guys, whether it's a recorded document, some sort, that it will be done within, 18 months, give or take.
I guess the other thing from a practical matter is finishing those roadways at some point is going to help us sell those lots. So we have a motivation to want to get it done at some point in time as well, and not just leave it undone.
Sure. No, I personally think the agreement be a letter of intent to the city for a period of 12 to 18 months. That satisfies our concerns, especially Jeremy's concern. We have situations where, there's a couple 100 feet to go and the city's left holding the bag and we have to put it in. So we wanted to avoid that. I think that this, to me, is a good compromise. I think works for all those involved.
And I appreciate the cul-de-sac aspect for the short term, for emergency purposes. So I appreciate that versus just a dead end
Yeah.
at this point.
A question I have is, when this lot was purchased or divided out, was there some reason why this wasn't included? Because to me, that seems very undevelopable, being it's only 180 feet in depth. To try to get a building in there and a parking lot, and so even for a small retail, is there any reason why that couldn't be included in the property that's to the north of it?
The original intent was person to purchase 10 acres, kind of as it's been laid out right here. Yes, we know that is there, but that's still almost 2.5 acre lot. So it's narrow, but it's long.
Yeah.
So you could easily put a small retail in there with ample parking, and make it fit. Obviously you're not going to come in with a big box store or anything large like that, but it will. It can work as a development. And again, since they own all of this over here, this could be turned into a regional pond, a water feature for all of this development, everything there. So yes, it is a little bit narrow, but like I said, it's long. It can be developed. We did look at a couple different concepts, and like I said, with them owning everything around, they could just expand that and make that all the regional retention area.
Okay. All right.
Does the 2.5 acres include the pole?
It does not include the pole,
Okay, excellent.
because I don't have 60 feet there.
This roadway then is, as I see it right now, is on private property. Will that be split off once it's developed, or what?
As part of the plat, we are dedicating that 80-foot public right-of-way. So that will be a public roadway and a public right-of-way. So the lot itself is here.
Okay. Now, in our notes here where it says, this is to be dedicated, when you say dedicated, are you saying constructed to?
Yeah, that's what their intent was,
Yeah.
and that's why we're asking you to give us that 12 to 18 month to finish the construction of the roadway and the official dedication of it.
Okay.
So your public roadway would be, this here, and that would all be public right of way as well.
So we would expect to see an additional final plat for this area in
Or,
that
or
timeframe?
just, or just a roadway dedication plat. That would probably be it, unless they do decide to subdivide the rest of this, then we'd do a plat. But if this were just a roadway, we would just go through a roadway dedication plat.
What if this doesn't develop in the next 12 to 18 months? I mean, from a project, an actual building project.
From everything that I know, and Tim can speak more, I'm meeting with the developers next week. They're waiting to make sure that this is, I know they got money tied up already in the land to purchase it. They thought originally that they could just go ahead and purchase the 10 acres, but then working with the city, they just said, you know, with the roadway and everything, it had to become a plat. So money's already there. They are moving forward. We're meeting next week, assuming we can come to an approval resolution on this.
Okay. And again, with the roadway being in there, your lot is gonna be something less than 10 acres, like maybe 8, by the time you get the roadway and you split that out?
Yeah, well, the lot itself is 9.7, and then the road right-of-way is
Okay, so
1.5.
Okay, so
So
the
the development
9
area itself is actually 11.3 acres.
Okay, gotcha.
My only comment is it's a large opportunity here for a master plan as we look forward for future development. We don't have this fragmented development. In hindsight, we go, man, that would have been great if we did this or that, or combine these lots or had curb cuts here for the continuity of the larger picture. So I know you can't control things with timing and there's some assumptions there, but I wanted to put that comment out there that the more master planning we can do for this, the better. So just a comment.
And that, again, that was brought up as part of the planning commission as well, and we understand, the developer understands too, you know, he wants to make something that's aesthetic and attractive for other developers to come in. But, you know, unfortunately, like I said, it helps now with Casto coming back to the table, because now that'll give us the rest of the picture south of Midwest Court. So we can kind of look at all of that and again, make sure that the roadway alignment and curb cuts and everything work well together.
Yeah, good.
So then you're gonna build this road, put a cul-de-sac in, and then provide the letter of intent saying that if you don't figure out the castle apartments in the next 18 months, you will finish the rest of this road.
Correct.
Perfect.
And you're draining into that dry detention area with storm lines under the roadway, is that, or?
That's correct, yeah, I mean.
And not
it's-
surface,
it's- Yeah, it's gonna be a standard roadway, you're gonna have, you know, water, sanitary, storm sewer,
Okay.
curb inlets, like I said, it's gonna be a boulevard roadway, so it's gonna be a little bit nicer. And yeah, everything has been designed that way. We've been working with engineering on the development plans itself. He had them, but I took them from him, because when the comment came about the rest of it, I didn't want him to start reviewing something that wasn't gonna be complete. So knowing now what we do, you know, we can go ahead and get all of that approved, and obviously, you know, there'll be bonding and everything that'll have to be put together with regards to the roadway and things of that nature as well, since it's a public road.
Okay.
And you've had discussions with the county and ODOT on the access to 99.
Yeah, we've worked with them quite extensively with the diverging diamond coming in.
Right,
So a
right.
detailed traffic impact study has been submitted to the county, the city, ODOT's reviewed it. The engineering group that's doing the DDI had reviewed it, and they've all agreed that this roadway location and the design everything is acceptable.
Okay.
Chances are you're gonna have another roadway in for this? No? Okay.
Nope. We've already been told, I mean, when they first started looking at this entire development, that this was the only access off of County Road 99. Everything else will have to be developed in through here or combined, because again, they own these 3 already platted lots. So in reality, you know, they own all of this over here. So there's a lot of development potential, and all of these other access points. We even showed that on the preliminary plat, that, you know, most likely, if this develops separately, it'll come out to Midwest Court here. Castle will come to Midwest Court. The Blanchard Valley property will come out to, you know, the new Mardick Drive.
Okay.
Good, Dan?
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'd just,
Oh, I'm
sorry
sorry.
to interrupt you, but is
Yeah.
there anyone here that'd like to speak for or against this? Okay, now you can, sorry.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve with the condition that the dedicated entire roadway be completed within an 12 to 18 month period? Or however you want to.
18 months. I wouldn't say 12 to 18 months. Just
Yeah.
say 18.
Yeah.
I'll second.
And that they will provide that letter of intent
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
city.
Good,
Yeah.
good point, yes. That's all part of the condition.
Yep. Yep. I'll second that.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, Mr. Trombley,
Yes.
Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin.
Aye.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
gentlemen.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to it. All right, agenda item number 7, application for site plan review, SP 05-2024, filed by CJ's Canine Properties LLC to establish an animal daycare facility at 900 East Bigelow Avenue. CPC staff comments.
Okay, so the request is located along the north side of East Bigelow Avenue. It is in an area zoned I-1 light industrial. To the north side of the street, it is zoned I-1 light industrial. Across the street to the south in Marion Township, it is zoned B3 general commercial, M1 restricted industrial, and R2 two-family residential. It is not located within a 100-year floodplain, and the City of Findlay Land Use Plan designates the property as industrial. So parcel history, previously the site was Jaqua's Fine Guns. The applicant is requesting to operate a dog kennel at the location. Kennels are a permitted use in the I-1 Light Industrial District. The operation of the site would include a new building being constructed with a connection between the two existing buildings on site. The proposed building will measure 50 feet by 120 feet and will have multiple enclosed outdoor areas for kennels and kennel runs. Total capacity for the kennel was listed at 35 dogs. The proposed additions meet the setbacks for the I-1 Light Industrial District. No changes are being made to the landscaping or parking areas other than just restriping the lot to show those parking spots out front. One question that staff had was, does the applicant have a plan in place if the 9 parking spots are not adequate during peak hours? Another item was the fencing was shown as proposed as being chain link, and staff was just curious if chain link was an adequate or material, or solid fence should be considered. Lastly, signage plan was not submitted with the original packet, and staff would just remind the applicant that they just need to comply with the low profile standards and follow up with Eric Adkins in the zoning department if they are doing signage and need any permits. So just real quick, our staff recommendation was approval of application for site plan review SP-05-2024 filed by CJ's Canine Properties LLC to establish an animal daycare facility at 900 East Bigelow Avenue.
Engineering?
So really not too much change on the utility wise. The only thing is a sanitary extension to the new proposed building. One question I had with that is how will the dog waste be handled? It does break down different than humans, so our treatment plant, it's kind of one of those, our treatment plant can do it, but it's not preferred to run it through that. But how would that be handled?
Do you want us to address that now or wait till all the comments?
Or yeah, you can wait. So that was kind of my question or concern with that, is how that's going to be handled. Really, otherwise, as a whole for the site, no concerns with it.
Okay, fire prevention had a couple bullets here. Obtain all needed permits for the project, call for all needed inspections, and add access road for emergency services to the new building. Sounds like Kevin. So, good morning. How are you?
morning.
Welcome. So
I guess I'll go ahead and just start addressing Jeremy with regards to that. This is pretty much the same concept that we did on County Road 99. The way the operations run inside is they remove all of the dog waste before they clean any of the anything's there. So the intent or the hope is that the material is not going to be getting into the sewer. So the breakdown won't be any different than just runoff. If you get with water pollution, there's some concerns about that still. We can kind of work behind the scenes and do something that way. But again, they're not going to be pushing it directly into the sanitary system.
Yeah, I think knowing not that you're not going to be pushing it directly in it, it's just kind of the runoff of it.
Right.
I think that'll be fine.
Okay.
So I'm good with that.
Planning comments about the fence, stuff like that. Obviously the chain link fence that we're talking about is going to go around, more of the outside runs and stuff like that. We would prefer not to have that be a solid fence. You want the dogs to be able to see. It's not a real sensitive area back here. Obviously, we got Campbell's over there. It's just storage over that way. So again, we'd like to keep that more of just openness for the for the animals that are out there. Talked about parking. You can see that there is ample parking or paved areas on the lot that and again, this isn't going to be a long term. Somebody's gonna come in, drop off their their animal real quick, and then take off. So they would be able to, have temporary parking here or over here. So we feel that there's plenty of hard surface there for additional parking that may or may not need to happen. With regards to the sign, Miss Jakeway's property is, her current business is over here on Bigelow. She does have a freestanding monument-style sign there. She would like to bring that over and possibly set it on the property, but what we need to do is we need to look at the size of that, compare it to the zoning code. We'll work with Eric on that. If for some reason that does not work, then they're gonna go ahead and put building signage up. So again, that's something that, we know that there's a separate permit process, so we'll work with zoning on that. With regards to the access to the rear building, we'd like to work with Kevin and his department on exactly what it is they need, what they want, because I tried to reach out to Kevin, and unfortunately I missed him. He's not here at the meeting to talk about it, so, if we could just have that as a condition, that we'll work with fire and the administration to get that taken care of. The one thing that we gotta be somewhat careful with is, where he, because I don't know what the intended use is, if he is more concerned about getting a fire truck back there or something that way. So we got to look at turning movements, make sure they can get in and out. Right now our drainage system is kind of down in this area here. So, there's just things that we need to work with them to make sure that we're compliant with what they want.
Yeah. I don't know the specifics of his request, so, but
Yeah. We work with Kevin all the time,
Yeah.
obviously. We'll get it taken care of and just run it through Matt's office.
okay.
In terms of the chain link comment, that's fine. It was more of just kind of a curiosity, but to your point, I agree with all your points, so no issue there. Looking at this, I agree that there is ample space for additional parking if needed, and you could even convert some of this. Is there shared access agreement with parcel to the west?
I don't believe there is. Right now, they're good neighbors.
Okay.
Obviously, the Fishes purchased it from Miss Jakeway, so, they have their own access.
Okay.
This parcel does have their own access over here to both buildings. So if for some reason this were to go away, they still have access. There's not going to be an issue. And like I said, there is area back here where employees could actually park back here and have adequate turnaround to come out this way. So, yeah,
Okay.
there's,
He actually has a new access.
yeah, he's got his own access over here, so should be no issues that way.
Is there any outdoor lighting being put in?
At this point, they're not putting any parking lot lighting or anything in like that.
Nothing for the dogs in the back and the run
You know,
area.
there might be some maybe wall packs in the back or something like that, but again,
No freestanding poles or
correct.
anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing like that.
You've got quite the facility to the north. So you'd
Yeah.
have to do
I
some
think-
pretty intense lighting.
I think there's probably good enough lighting that they won't need anything.
That's
Get a
good.
suntan.
Yeah.
All right.
I was a little confused by the drawings that were submitted. Are you planning an addition onto this building right in there? Is that part of the project? Or are we just dealing with the one that's highlighted there? Because there were some other plans that showed this as being also part of the kennel work, and this kennel and cat and grooming, I think.
My understanding is they're redoing both of these buildings and they're having a connector to the new building.
Right. Okay.
Larry, there's no
So you-
building addition to this, right?
So-
There's
Yeah.
no building addition, all there is outside exercising area, there's maybe a line.
Okay.
That's actually a chain link fence that would be there to retain the dogs in that area.
Is that
Okay, it looked like a wall versus, just a fence. But all in all, you're looking at not 35 kennels here, you're at 100. Is that correct? Or nearly 100?
The gun safe room that's there now will have the 35 kennels in it. The rest of the daycare center will just have our space to hold the dogs. They're not actually kennels, they're just day rooms. So the handlers that are working there don't have to handle all the dogs at the same time.
So are you,
They're actually boarding kennels, there's only going to be about 35.
So that was my question. You mentioned 35, but is that the capacity or daycare and grooming? What numbers are we seeing through the day, you think?
Okay, the boarding area will have a capacity of around 35. The daycare, new building, which is highlighted in the dark green, there will have availability capacity to have dogs there during the day, approximately about 60 to 70 dogs.
How many employees per an average? How many employees for an average shift? Is it 2?
Square feet.
No, employees.
Employees.
Employees, per shift,
Yeah,
we're looking at, 2, 4, about 6.
six.
About 4 to 6.
Okay. I think that goes back to my question on parking then. If you got 4 to 6 employees and 6 parking spots plus people dropping stuff off, 6 does not feel like enough parking spots. I know you've got other areas where you could have parking. I would like to see you guys actually, stripe it out, make sure it fits with turnarounds and whatnot. Because if you have 4 to 6 employees, you'll have more people just parking wherever they can. It could be chaotic.
We can take a look at a parking plan and get it
Okay.
submitted, just so everybody understands what we can and can't do on the site. Because again, we know it's more of a transient.
It is.
So it's going to be in
Yep.
and out type of thing. But we'll try to put together some type of striping plan and submit it up to the administration, let them take a look at it.
I'd imagine you'd have people dropping off kind of like school where it's at the same time every day and picking up at the same time. Is that kind of the plan?
Well, we
Or is
have-
it throughout the day?
It is throughout the day.
Is it?
We're
Okay.
open from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
Then we have a lot of half-day dogs, so it's really
Oh.
just all day long.
Is there extended stay, like 3-4 days overnight kenneling?
Sure,
Okay.
yes, yes,
So some of
Makes
those
sense.
dogs might
Yeah.
be.
yeah.
Rotating.
is one building more for another than another? Like is the new building for the day in and day out
Yes.
animals?
The new building is for doggy daycare play,
Okay.
and those are the pups that come in the morning and leave periodically anytime during the day.
So is this building here then kind of the kennel that you would use for 3-4 days or a week
Yes.
stay?
That's the doggy vault.
Okay. And a doggy vault, okay. And you will do grooming, excuse me, grooming and training over here?
Yes, sir.
Back to the question on the dog debris or residue.
Matter?
Yeah. You say, how are you going to handle that? Because you said you might have runoff from it. Is it going to be something that is piled up outside or what?
No, the solid matter we pick up
Uh-huh.
with our
Trash?
hands and our bag over our hands, to be quite honest. And
Yeah.
of course, we clean. We
Uh-huh.
have clean buckets, dirty buckets. The liquid is cleaned up by mopping, etc. But the solid matter goes right into the trash.
Okay, okay.
Bagged up.
Dan, is there a dumpster on site?
There is not at this point.
Okay.
Do you plan on doing a dumpster?
We did talk about it. There's not been anything made yet, but certainly can be done.
If we do a dumpster, we'll make sure that it has enclosure per the regulations.
So my only other question or comment was just about the parking lot screening and the parking lot landscaping. I know there's some shrubs, maybe 10 or so that are there, but if you're gonna be putting more spots, I'd like to see you guys meet, the intent of the landscaping standards for parking lots. So we can certainly give you credit for the existing landscaping that's there, but there'll be some more probably required to meet that.
Anyone else here that wants to speak for or against this? Dan, did you have something else to
Yeah,
add?
there was a mention of a detention pond. Is that something that's going to be for all 3 parcels, or is there something here that we're?
Currently, right now, there's a low spot that comes basically between the old shooting range and the existing buildings. What we're doing is this property there's a catch basin right here that goes out to the street.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're creating our detention area right here for our site. This adjacent property to the west will drain into the existing catch basin and go out. Our detention area will go have a new outlet that goes down to the public storm sewer. So it's individual detention for the individual lots. So if they come over here and they do anything, they're gonna have to do their own detention. If anything else is done over here, commercially or industrially, then we'll have to work with that drainage over that way.
Okay.
Not to belabor a point, is there kind of like hose down? Like, are the floors designed to be kind of hosed down? And if so, do those go into the storm sewer or sanitary sewer?
Go ahead.
Well, like Dan was saying, the retention thing actually goes to the storm sewer. There's a existing sewer line there now, so any new plumbing in the, actually the only thing in the new building is 3 floor drains, and that will be directed right to the sewer line that's on the property.
The sanitary?
That'll go through sanitary.
Okay.
Yeah, the floor drains will go through the sanitary sewer system.
Anything else?
So my only question, maybe this is for us, is we've said, hey, we want to see a revised parking plan with more than 6 spots. Do we want to set the number of minimum spots? I know the code doesn't really address kennels as far as number of spots, other than saying 1 per employee for the I-1.
I guess what I'd like to
Or
say
what would you
there
guys
is,
want? Yeah, do you guys have a number in mind that makes sense?
I mean, right now, the zoning code dictates the minimum number of parking
Right.
spaces.
Right.
We'll put together a plan. I don't want to say, don't you guys come up and say we need to have 90 parking
Oh, yeah,
spaces.
89.
So I guess I would ask that we don't put a number on it, that we put together a plan, work with the administration and see if that's acceptable. But again, that's like what I'd like to see happen. We'll put together that plan and submit it to Matt and Jeremy and Eric and let them do their.
So, our theory on parking has really been require a minimum.
Right.
I feel comfortable in that I feel like there's a lot of space. If they're having issues, they have space to add more parking. I don't think, and if it gets to a point where there's issues queuing on our roadways, then it's an immediate issue. But if there's a little bit of chaos on their site, that doesn't give me heartburn. It's something they have to deal with, and that will push them to install more parking if needed. So I don't see an imminent threat to our public roadway and that traffic, and I do see a lot of space where they can add.
But I'm looking at the maps and I see they might not be identified as parking lanes, but there's an opportunity to create more.
Yeah, exactly. And like I
So-
said, let us take a look at
Yeah.
it. We'll put together a plan, get it up to those, because, I'm sure that, there's gonna be ample room down here to put, spots. Like I said, we can have some employee parking up in here. We could even do some, employee parking over here. So, I think separating the employees from
That's
the
a good point.
drop-off
Yeah.
is
Yep.
gonna be a very key thing for them to take care of, because, they don't want their patrons parking way over here.
Right.
And running their dogs and stuff. So most likely we'll show that there's gonna be employee parking outside of the area and try to keep the front of the building open for the patrons.
The hard surfaces there is now, to give you an example how big that is, that building there in the lower left is 110 feet long. So that parking area that's there now is close to 200 feet. And it's fairly
Should be
wide,
enough.
as you can see. And
Okay.
that was, I don't know if you ever seen when they used to have the trap shoots there, that thing was pretty
Full.
full. So, there's more than that.
So
Basically,
just,
we could sit there and just draw Chevron lines in there and we'd have another 40 parking spaces.
as long as everybody knows we're not doing trap shooting here. okay?
Unfortunately.
Now, Dan's always been very responsive to work with the team, so I
Right.
trust it will get done what we need to get done here. Anything else?
I don't have anything else. I'd make a motion to approve and, with the conditions that they work with the fire department on the access, that they, do you want them to, are we in
Signage.
agreement to submit a parking plan or not?
I know.
No?
Is that a
Okay.
condition?
And then,
A revised striping plan, I think, is what we've said.
okay. And then, any dumpster would have a appropriate enclosure on it.
If you guys are in agreement, I'd like to add that they're meeting the intent of the landscaping screening, parking lot screening requirements for landscaping as well.
As another condition, yeah.
That's, again, you guys are in agreement.
I support that.
Okay, let me kind of read back what I've got so far. Okay, so I've got a condition to add the access road for emergency service to the new building for fire. I put they submit a revised striping plan and parking lot landscaping sheet to HRPC for approval, and then any dumpster enclosure be enclosed, and actually any signage is worked out through the zoning office.
Zoning. Yep.
Very good. Was there, do you
I'm-
need a second?
I'll second that.
I think that's nice
I'm
that
sorry.
to see that development out
Yeah.
there, and that buildings will no longer sit what appear to be empty anyhow.
Okay. I got it written down now, so. All right. Ms. Schroeder,
Aye.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Trombley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Last one.
Number 8 on the agenda, last but certainly not least, application for site plan review SP 06-2024, filed by Ron Seifert, Seifert Farms, for a 94-unit condo development at the east end of Silver Creek Drive in Allen Township. CPC staff comments.
Yeah, if you could scroll for that for us. The site is located within Allen Township, but is abutting the Findlay corporate boundary to the east. This parcel is not located within a 100-year floodplain, and the City of Findlay land use plan designates the area as single-family large lot. Parcel history: the site is currently vacant land. This lot went through a similar site plan review back in July of 2021. It was item SP-16-2021. Since this project was reviewed last, it has been determined that the City Planning Commission may not put conditions on properties outside of city limits. That the City Planning Commission may only review and consider items directly related to water and sanitary sewer connections. CPC may not apply their standards to any other portion of the project, and this includes zoning and drainage standards. If the city planning commission wishes to apply their standards to the property, to these properties using water and sewer, the properties must be annexed into the city of Findlay. So staff analysis, the applicant submitted a site plan that would have a 47 building, 94 unit condo development off a single access on Silver Creek Drive. When they originally went through site plan approval in 2021, they received approval with the following conditions. Second access point into the site to be created from County Road 99. Receive approval from the county engineer for access off of Silver Creek Drive. Begin the annexation process with the city of Findlay. Construction plans approved by the city engineer's office. Allow for the northern boundary to have a 10-foot setback to allow for the creation of a riparian area easement along the south and west boundary. The size of which can be addressed administratively through CPC staff. And phasing the development from east to west with access from County Road 99 first. So since the original submission in 2021, they have shifted the plans north to avoid the tree line on the south side, and they established a clearing setback on the west and the south side. Regarding access and site plan details, City Planning Commission has kind of two options in front of them. So one, they can review the site plan and only comment on the water and sewer connections and give a determination based on that alone. Or CPC can deny the request until annexation is completed. Upon annexation, the applicant can resubmit and the City Planning Commission can review the site based on the City of Findlay condominium district standards.
Engineering?
All right, so I'm going to split this up in two different ways. So I'll follow what kind of Jacob was saying. So if we look at just sewer and water, really the sewer and water side really hasn't changed too much since the last one. We're working through the developer or the consultant with a couple things on the water lines. It's deeper in some areas. We're going to pull that up so it's serviceable. But both those lines are going to be public lines. So easements are shown for all those. There's quite a few water service connections and sanitary tap permits that we'll be having for that as well. For these, I guess, water service, I just want to clarify again, we're going to have a meter for each, I guess, living quarter. So each one will have 2 meters for each of those, okay? Do you plan on having those as meter pits or within the buildings themselves? Meter pits. Okay. So we will work with you guys as well on where we're going to want to see those. Again, don't want them near the roadways and driveways and all that kind of stuff. So we'll work with them on that. So on the sanitary and water side, looking at just kind of the construction plans with that, I don't have any concerns because we're working through what concerns we have on that. Now, if I go to option 2 of annexing it, looking into it, access size or access way, I would like to see second drive come in from that eastern part if it's off of 99 or another part, but I think we need to have 2 points of access for safety personnel within that area. The stormwater management, they have revised their detention ponds within the area. We do have those calculations. They do fit within our city standards, so that would fit with their new designs that they have for the ponds that they have shown. And then the MS4 requirements, as part of the plans, there were some stuff with that, but we will work through our normal process with the MS4 requirements on that. So I guess overall with that, if it is annexed, I have the information that I need to fully comply with it. If it's not, I think that's where it's going to be decided on what we ultimately decide with our utilities.
Good? Yeah. All right, thank you. And then fire prevention had a similar comment about secondary access off of 99.
And just to reiterate to the commission, I did receive a number of emails from citizens in the Woods of Hillcrest subdivision, and the majority, all of them expressed concern that there was only one access into the site.
Okay. All right. Good morning. We'll, Yes, ma'am. We'll get, you and anyone else that were sworn in will have an opportunity to speak, ma'am. Introduce yourselves, please, and
Yep.
kind of walk us through it.
I'm Todd Jenkins.
I'm Ron Seifert.
Ron Seifert. I guess let's hit on that access first. We want that access also. The county will not allow it. The county has denied. We submitted a drive permit for both roadways, and they denied 99. So one of my questions would be is, if this is annexed, can the city allow the curb cut? Because the intent is to go ahead and annex the property. Our intent is to follow all the city regulations, and we would like that access as well. So if we would start the annexation process, we'd be looking for hopefully a conditional approval to move forward, meet all of these conditions, have that access on 99 if it can be granted. The only sticking point would be is sequencing. We'd like to get started with construction prior to it being annexed. So maybe do a few of those units with construction traffic coming off 99 with a construction drive, and then once it's annexed, go ahead and have an actual curb cut and start that access coming in from that end.
I'll let the engineer talk about the curb cut.
So, I mean, technically it's within our city limits, so we should have that, but they do have roadway maintenance on that. So it would have to be something we would have to work out with the county engineer as well on ultimately, because with them having ultimately maintenance down through there, I don't know what would be the legal stance, but it is within the city limits, so technically that curb cut is ours. Looking at that, that's kind of within that, that's all Seifert's throughout there. Would any of those drives be able to be consolidated, such as that one that's to the far east, where then we can say, hey, we're creating a new, I know it's not within your 475 feet, but we're reducing, we're keeping the same amount of curb cuts in that area. I think that would be something that where we could work with the county engineer and come up with something on that.
But, and Jeremy, there's no guarantee that upon annexation, you will be able to get a curb cut because of the maintenance. It's a sticky situation out there. And I think one of our contentions is, it doesn't have to be right here. I don't know if you can get a curb cut here, but I think there needs to be a second way of ingress egress. I don't know that, if right here would be acceptable, but I think it would need to be kind of in this portion. So I don't want to give you the false impression that yes, you annex and it's going to happen. There's a lot of moving parts out there, and this whole kind of project reflects that there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep, absolutely.
In terms of conditional approval, the county challenged City Planning Commission's authority to put any conditions on anything other than water and sewer. So if we said yes today, condition upon anything that's not water and sewer, you could go out and build this today. So we're a little bit backed into a corner. For 20 years, we put conditions on things based upon the water and sewer. That's been legally challenged. We consulted with attorneys, and the county was correct. We do not have the authority to put any conditions upon anything other than connection to water and sewer. So if we gave any type of approval today other than you could start construction, and I know that sounds good to you, but for the residents and all the concerns that we have about the site, that's kind of where we're at. And as staff, we're uncomfortable. Item number one is the second. Item number one is we got to find a second way in and out. That, in my mind, if we don't find a second way in and out, even if it's annexed, it's not going to happen. Or it's tough to approve.
So, since this originally came, I like the addition of the detention. I like some of the adjustments that have been made.
Yes.
Silver Creek is not going to be, we all agree, that is not feasible to have that the only way in and out. So I just want to make that's crystal clear. That's a non-starter for me. I think with a lot of other people, from a safety perspective, as well as the interruption of the existing neighborhood that it would be coming in and out of. However you can make that happen on the north side, off of 99. The reality is, I just, in my experiences, don't have confidence getting the cart before the horse here. As much as we feel we work very well with people that want to grow and develop in our community. I don't have confidence that if we start this conditional with annexation and you start building, the other partners in our community will allow you to have that access off of 99. So unfortunately, that is a non-starter for me until that's done. However, it's accomplished. If you can consolidate one of your 6 entrances you have up there and create that access, great. But until that's accomplished, I'm reluctant to move forward from my perspective.
Matt,
Yes.
Again, what's the issue with the city and the curb cuts? I
Well, so
have a good understanding of that.
that's essentially, the county has control of the curb cut there.
Right.
That curb cut does not meet the county access management regulations. And no variance has been given. A variance was not given, and it kind of got muddy there. We had a variance meeting, and that's when things kind of unfolded, that the county came out and said, you can't put the condition of a roadway there.
Right.
And so at this point, the county controls the access there. So if I were in your position, I would try to come up with a way to get a second access, get that, blessing from the county.
Yeah, for instance.
And or work with Jeremy and figure out legally, if this is annexed, does the city control that curb?
Jeremy, from your experience, say there's 6 there's curb cuts along there. If it's a net zero, right, we maintain those 6, but we move one. I don't want you to speak for the county. Once you move it, it's.
Our office used to be the variance board for the county access management regulations. And it's purely, it's a distance on this. I think they can't have another driveway within either 475 feet. 495. So, it would probably have to take some consolidation. It would be, it's not an easy fix.
This is the proposed church property, is that correct?
Correct.
And we had, I think, an access on that. Do we have any idea where that 400 feet number would fit in there?
I don't believe the church access was the issue. I believe it was the drives to the west that were too close.
Yeah. And and we reviewed them around the same time.
Yeah.
If this was in the city, if this had been in the city and the church had been in the city, it would have been a great opportunity to require a shared access.
Right.
But again, we couldn't make that requirement.
If we were to look at tabling this, would the city be willing to sit down at the table with us, with the county, and see if we could work out some kind of access agreement, knowing that Ron owns, or his family owns, several parcels to the west there, and we can look at consolidation? Would the city be willing to sit down and talk about it?
I don't
Along
have a problem with
county?
that.
Yeah, I believe we're in favor of it. We know we need a residential development, right? This is a good opportunity as long as it's not negatively impacting existing and we have safe ingress and egress. So I don't want you to misunderstand what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yep, we understand.
However, we need to make sure when we sit down that we're all in the same, when we walk away from that table, marching orders and action items are gonna be accomplished and we don't get this isn't gonna be accomplished because of X, Y, and Z. That's not how we want
Right.
this to be accomplished. So if we can sit down with the county and you and come up with action items and we agree to them and then they can be executed, I'm in favor of that.
So, yep.
The question is, do we table or do we And that might be a discussion point.
So, so,
If we table, it may be there for quite a while.
so
True.
there's a couple issues. To me, at this point, you know, it's a difficult ask for the city to kind of enforce anything other than water and sewer. So let's
Yeah.
say they get a second curb cut, they do put in the second curb cut, and then they build the detention pond half as big, or they, you know, or they do some things, and then the city asks, hey, Matt and Eric, go out and enforce this. It's like, well, it's not in the city of Findlay. And then my response to the administration is, are you willing to turn off the water tomorrow? You know, so all in all, I definitely would, I think sitting down with the county and the city and working on this together, but ultimately, I think it's in the best interest of the neighborhood to the west and for the development that it is within the city of Findlay and subject to our review. But so even, we could sit down with the county next week and figure out an access point, but I'm still of the opinion, let's annex it,
Right.
review it, and move forward.
Well, we have a hard water policy for a reason, and it has been executed, and sometimes it's been held to the standard, and sometimes it hasn't. At this point, the administration wants to fork these situations, execute the hard water policy to its full extent. So with that, this needs to get annexed. So
Yes, absolutely. The intent would be to annex this.
the question is, though, as we work through that annexation process and we align with the development, if they parallel each other, we don't have a leg to stand on until it's officially annexed. That's our concern, to Matt's point. So
We have reviewed projects on the condition that it's annexed and that they can't move, essentially can't do anything, any construction or any project until the annexation is complete. Because so that's what we're doing with Sheets project, different, and racetrack.
Right.
They did not move dirt until the annexation was complete.
right.
And I just want to, I want to note, I do have, I guess, compassion for the situation that you're in. It's not so much something you've done. You've kind of been caught up in the middle of differing opinions and different entities. So I'm sympathetic to your situation, but we want to get this right. And we do need more housing in Findlay. So we want to get this right, and I feel bad that you're kind of stuck in this situation.
And I don't have a problem reviewing this under the condition that it gets annexed, but that access point is such a key part of this development, and exactly where it goes, I mean, it could completely change the development, where I don't think today it makes sense to review it. So to me, the tabling makes sense. Have your conversation, start the annexation process, and then come back once you're a little further along. That would be my thoughts.
I
What-
agree. I agree with Carrie completely.
Yeah.
We get the second access figured out.
Yep.
Which, like you said, could change the design dramatically.
Yes.
Once we have the second access, we could then move forward with a review that's contingent upon the final annexation, and then the day the annexation is done, you pull all your permits
And go.
and you're ready to go.
Okay.
So, if we table this, I mean, are we looking at a couple months, or is it going to be an extended period of time, do you think?
I don't know if we know that yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the time frame for annexation? Is that a 6-month?
It can
Period.
be. It can be. If it goes through the readings and it sits at the county, goes through the resolution process, sits again.
Yeah.
Then it comes to the city, it sits, then it goes through the 3 readings at council and sits again. So I want to say the sheets, that's all have been 6 months or better. And we're looking at June before they're able to turn dirt as an annexed
Yeah.
property. So
Yeah,
it is lengthy.
it's a 6 to 9 month process because I don't think the city has a expedited annexation agreement with Allen Township, or what? Because that's Allen, or is that that's Allen Township? So I don't think we would. I don't think we have one with Allen Township.
And you haven't started anything with annexation yet, which is
Not yet.
what we talked about back in 2 years ago, you know?
Yep. Hit a little snag on the storm drainage, so it took a while to work that out.
And I just want to note, from the staff's perspective and my personal perspective, the requirement of annexation has nothing to do with the city trying to take over more land.
Yeah.
The main issue is this is an unzoned township and there's just very few developmental controls. And the only way we can have developmental controls is by having it within the city. And I think that's in everyone's interest that there is some control over the project.
So if we tabled this until it's annexed, you could still work out the details in the meantime with the city and county, correct? Or
I would recommend this. I would say, honestly, I don't think it matters. From my standpoint, I don't think that if we deny it, we're going to hold that against them the next time they come in.
Right.
But I would say we will table it for up to 3 months. If we don't have any new information at that time, kind of we're going to then just deny it.
Mm.
But we're not going to hold that denial against you, like, hey, you got denied.
Yeah.
You know, other than
The other option too is you could always let us know, hey, it doesn't look like it's going to go forward in a reasonable time frame, in which case we can withdraw.
and that's fine. I would be fine with that also.
Table for 3 months.
Well, then,
Table it for a couple months,
yeah.
and then we'll give them the option to withdraw it at that time. If they don't, we'll deny it.
Okay. If we make a motion to table it, should we specify that 3 months?
I'd love for a law director to give an opinion on that.
Yeah.
You're wearing that hat today.
Yeah, I mean,
Or that just be our understanding?
Let's revisit it at the June Planning Commission meeting. Is that fair?
yeah.
Table it till June.
Well,
And then we'll revisit if it's either you withdraw, we're moving forward, we're close, let's keep it tabled. But at least then we have the clock running.
yeah.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable.
Before we do that, I know there's some people here that wanted to
that was
talk about it.
a good
Let's
point.
let's make sure you have an opportunity to talk before we make a motion.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good morning, ma'am. If you could introduce yourself and make sure the red light on the microphone's on, and
It's on.
it's all you.
Brenda Steed. I live on Forest Trail Drive. Our properties, there's 5 houses that back up to where they want to put this, new condos. I live on the corner of Silver Creek and Forest Trail. So, that's the access there. Everyone is concerned on Forest Trail about the construction coming in and then having to go that way. So we're very concerned about having that other access off of 99. And, maybe having that, the first access is what originally was talked about. So the construction, everything would go through there. And then, the other part is having, 94 condos, you take that times 2, you got 188 possible cars coming in Forest Trail, going down Silver Creek, into that subdivision or the condos that they want to build. Also, the sewer, the storm sewer drainage. Seifert's went and did some work in the field right behind our houses where the big antennas are. Between 3803 and 3805, we've had water standing a lot ever since we had the rain the last time, not including, last night and today. That water is still standing there. It's, deep. It's not flowing anywhere. Something needs to be done. And ever since they moved some dirt in that behind the big towers, the properties aren't draining right.
Is the water standing on their property or your property?
It's ours. It won't drain anymore because it's always drained into that field. And so now, we've got this small pond between these two houses. And, water stands in some of the other properties also. But mainly between 3803 and 3805, the two right there before Silver Creek. If you drive out there today, there is a lot of water standing in between those two houses. We've tried to put rock in that area. I mean, it's a low spot. It drains. You can tell from the road, back to that field. And, it's not. So, that's one of the big concerns that we have about, the drainage through there and the amount of cars on, Forest Trail into Silver Creek. So, that's,
No,
that's our concern.
well, thank you for your comments. A lot of concerns that you have mentioned are also our concern.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons we want to have it annexed into the city so that it
Okay.
can meet all the good standards that the city of Findlay has. In general, one, the property's not in the city. Property owners can move dirt around. So we can't control that, and you won't like this answer, but most drainage situations between two property owners are a civil matter.
Okay. You mentioned that the county was going to have like the storm sewer and that type of thing. What are you working with the city working with the county to come up with a plan for that?
So as this sits in Allen Township, and they're not subdividing, the county has no authority to enforce any drainage regulations.
Okay. All right.
That's what they've told
Okay.
us. If it's in the city of Findlay, it has to meet all the city of Findlay
Right.
drainage
Okay.
regulations.
Okay. Because it was a little confusing in some of the proposal
So the-
things
yeah,
before and everything like that.
The county, really, their only involvement in this project is they control, at this
The
point, they
access.
control County Road 99, and they
Okay.
control that access.
Okay. All right. Oh,
But all the utilities would be, the water, sewer would all be City of Findlay.
okay. Because we have city water and sewer now in Hillcrest area. So, just running that on back through there and things, it's, trying to figure out what's going to happen with our properties.
Yes, we're,
Oh.
in this process, we've been very sensitive to the existing homes, and we want to try to find a solution that works for everybody.
All right. So, thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. Paul, do you want to come to the mic?
Matt, you just mentioned that since it was not being subdivided, that the county had no jurisdiction on stormwater?
That is correct. That's their stance.
Okay.
I-
So,
so.
given what has been said, the city can't provide any comments on anything outside of water and sewer,
Correct.
even though there's been a lot of discussion about other things outside of water and sewer.
Sure.
Which I think is totally fair. This abutting the city, and potentially, not maybe just this circumstance because we're county residents, but could be abutting the city, you would have no jurisdiction on stormwater either, just water and sewer.
Correct.
And the county doesn't keep track of requirements for storm sewer for something that's not being subdivided.
The claim is the drainage requirements are in the subdivision regulations, and if a property is not being subdivided, they have no regulations to enforce.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure that that is what you said, because I'm probably not the only one in here that seems to think that would be foolish, to have no stormwater requirements for something that's not subdivided and have an entity like the city of Findlay not be able to provide input on that. I think a lot of my neighbors have echoed the same concerns, but I want to thank HRPC and also the developer and engineer for following through on everything that was brought up at the last meeting. That doesn't always happen. Everybody out there would love to see it be a farm field forever, but nobody wants to get together and buy the farm from Mr. Seifert, so fair is fair. I think it's a good development. I feel like he is stuck with this access issue. Personally, I would like to see included in the minutes for this meeting some reference to whatever is legally keeping the city from providing input outside of water and sewer. That is a system that has worked really, really well for a long time. And now all of a sudden it's not possible. And I personally have not kept up to speed enough on what's been going on legally. So I don't know, but that's very puzzling to me.
So, to that point, the county made comment about that, and raised concerns that the city is overstepping their authority. We reached out to a law firm out of Columbus. It used to be called Bricker and Ecker. It's Bricker and Graydon.
Yes.
We reached out to one of their attorneys who kind of specializes in this, and he did confirm and agree with the county's stance that our comments and conditions can only be to water and sewer.
And that is based on a court case? Is
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
was
they-
that a written opinion based on something that has legally occurred?
I don't know that if they cited, they did provide us a written response,
Mhm.
and
Fair enough.
I can't
Really
recall it
puts,
at this
you know, developers in a tough spot. Annexation takes a long time. If you annex to the center line, I assume that's city property. Regardless of a maintenance agreement that occurs, I think you would have jurisdiction over the curb cut. So I think the law director would be able to provide an opinion to them about access. In my opinion, if it's annexed to the center line, then the city grants an access point. Because in this particular case, he controls those other curb cuts, but in others, they won't. And how do you get development done if you have to annex everything when you're going to create islands all over the place?
yeah, I mean, I've worked for cities.
Yeah.
I've worked for 2 cities that where that was if you want our water.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that's
and-
that's what the position you're being put in. I think you have to.
Yeah.
If that's, legally what has to occur, you're going to have a lot of city properties dangling all over the place.
Yeah. My opinion is, and I think, and that's why we need to consult with a law director and work through this issue. I think if it's annexed, we would control the curb cut, but I didn't want to make a promise.
Sure. No, I understand that.
If you annex, you got it, buddy. There's a lot of factors.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Is anyone else here that would like to speak for or against this before we officially table it? Anything else from the commission at this point? All right, good discussion, and hopefully we can move forward in the right direction. So I'll make a motion to table this until the June CPC meeting.
I'll second that.
Jacob, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Klinger,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Trombley,
Aye.
Ms. Schroeder.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.